Hello there, and welcome back to Nova Drift. A new patch have just arrived recently. It is the experimental patch of the Genesis update, I believe. Okay, and it added a bunch of new things. A thermal lance for one, which we will be using today. There's another new thing, the shockwave shield. However, we won't be really using it. I'm not sure exactly what kind of build I would want to use it with. It will be skipping shield because I don't really want anything in particular for the shield. For the body we have two choices here. Either the assault body for the increased rate of fire, because thermal lance scales with rate of fire and blast radius. I don't think it... I mean, it does scale with projectile mods as well, but not the lance itself, but those... how are they called? Sparks, I believe. Yeah, I think they're the twisting sparks, yeah. So that's what the projectile mods scale with, and the thermal lance itself. I think it only scales with fire rate and blast radius. I don't think it scales with anything else. Well, the burn damage, obviously, but like size increase and stuff like that, I don't think it affects it at all. So yeah, the assault body would be one choice, or the engineer would be the other, because we are going to be using the new mine modes in conjunction with the thermal lance. I think I will be taking the assault body because rate of fire is really critical for this build. Okay, so straight away we will be taking magnitude. I know I said the projectile size and weapon damage doesn't really scale. I'm not sure about the weapon damage. It does give a little bit of blast radius, so it's good, but we want the charge shot. So unfortunately we will have to take the rate of fire penalty there. Okay, what else do we have? We'll want absorption as well for Rancor later on. Won't be taking Splinter because of the two mods. Payloads have a lower rate of fire penalty. We might be taking Ally, but this build is pretty hungry on the mods, so if we have some points to spare, then maybe. For the time being, let's take the hull increase. As you can see, the thermal lance have a pretty unique weapon effect. It applies burn on the enemies as well as vulnerability, which I believe adds like 2% or something like that. Where is it? There is a lot of text on this weapon. Oh yeah, the vulnerability increases the damage taken from all sources. It doesn't really say how much, but I think it's like 2% per stack. I believe I read something like that on the wiki or the Discord. Not sure exactly. So citation needed. Okay, double tap. This will be our bread and butter mod because it increases fire rate, and we will need about 5 to 7 of those for the build to work. So we will be taking them whenever possible. And maybe we will even take Obsession if it's available soon. Polar Inversion, it's 50% blast radius. It will increase the size of our thermal lance, but the rate of fire is the one that we really need. I think, yeah, we're gonna take it because the size is going to be pretty important as well. As you can see, the lance is basically a channeled weapon. It decreases your thrust and rotation speed when you're firing it. So it's kind of like a siege weaponry in that manner. You can actually use siege weaponry with this mod, with this weapon, but it's not that great. Okay, so here the Winnow is a really tempting one. It will ban the ally, so you won't be able to take it at all. But I think that's fine. This build requires like 42 levels or something like that, so there's really no room for ally anyway. And we will be needing a lot of rerolls, so I think I'm gonna grab it right here. Okay, the Bravado, yes, especially with Assault Body, it does increase our rate of fire. It's not much, it's 1.5%, I believe. So it's not great, but it will add a little bit, and it's also more experience, so it's all great. Okay, rate of fire, the rapid fire, as well as the burst fire. It's the weapon still remains a channeled weapon, so you only get that 20% rate of fire, which increases the size of the weapon. So definitely something that you want to grab. Okay, burst fire or regeneration. I think we're going to go for burst fire first. I'm not quite sure how the barrage scales with the lance itself. It does cause you to spew out a lot more of the sparks, but I don't think it affects the size of the lance itself, and we don't really want to be scaling the sparks, as we won't be really using them later on, as you will see. And yeah, that Rancor, it's moderately useful. Yeah, so let's take the burst fire Candescence, because it's going to allow us to heal a little bit. Okay, maybe let's not die. That would be a preferable outcome here. Heavy caliber, you don't really want it with that weapon, because I mean, it increases weapon damage, maybe, not sure exactly, since it's a burn weapon. But it decreases rate of fire, and the projectile size doesn't really do anything for us. So here we have the corrosion. This weapon, I believe, does apply corrosion. or the warpath. I think we'll go for the corrosion first to get the purification. This will be more useful, as survival is going to be difficult on this build. This is very much a glass cannon build, and our entire survival will depend on how fast we can kill everything on the screen. Okay, so the volley and focused fire is clearly the way if you want to go barrage, but like I said, in my testing it didn't really do much. The +2 projectiles might be necessary for the build. We will see later on, so we might be grabbing it, but this the negative effects aren't really affecting us at all. But still, I don't think we'll be grabbing it just yet. The siege weaponry with the saturation fire is okay, but the siege weaponry on its own is not really great. For targeting, if you go this path with the homing strike and convergence, you do get +tap projectiles, which is helpful, especially if you can't get enough double taps. You will see later on why. But I think this is a reroll. There isn't really anything that we want. Okay, let's grab the mines maybe. We can wait for the purification a bit. And as you could see, there was a new mod in the mines tree. This is the minefield, I believe it's called. I'm not entirely sure whether we will be using minefield. I think we will first try the build without it and grab it later on, just to see the difference between how it works with and without it. Yeah, because minefield it adds +3 mine limits, which is nice, and it deploys all the mines at once. More assembly speed, lower maximum health of the mines. It also reduces the mine damage, total mine effect, and trigger radius. Damage and mine effect is not great for this build. I mean, the negative is something that you don't really want, but since it spews out a lot more mines, it will be better, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. It is arguable whether this is an improvement or not. The mine trigger radius is a good thing on however, because you don't... This might sound weird, but we don't really want our mines to explode. And you will see why once we get loaded mines. Elegant constructs definitely needed, because we will be going overseer. Here I think the self-destruct is definitely the way, because we will need vital bond. So yeah, I will grab the elegant construct here. Loaded mines. And here we don't really want purge. Volley, like I said, maybe we'll take it later on. Minefield, the same thing. So let's reroll here. Retribution, definitely, because we will be ditching our shield and going for rapid reconstruction. So this is always good. Okay, now see what happens when I deploy the mine. It shoots lasers. You can probably guess what we want to do with that. Okay, let's navigate our way inside of the mega station and let's burn it a bit. Unfortunately, the mine here will pretty much trigger as soon as they are deployed, which is not amazing. Okay, maybe we will be able to kill it before it kills us. Okay, that's great. Okay, so here, like I said, we definitely want the payload for the charge shot. It is decrease of the fire rate of fire, but it's the necessary evil, I guess. I think we're gonna pass on the regeneration still and risk it. What do we have here? Blast radius, we will be taking this later on. It's not really a priority, I would say. I mean, it will affect the explosion of the mines as well, and the rupture is great overall. But I would prefer to get charge shot or the double tap. Double tap is good as well. If you go for the engineer build, you will obviously have a lot more mines. However, once you get the what's it called, the minefield, it will reduce your mine effect by the 25 or 30%, don't remember exactly, and that will reduce the amount of beams that the mines are casting. And you ideally want 3 beams, because it gives you a lot more firepower this way. This is why we want to be taking double tap, because loaded mine scales with your fire rate and your projectile count. Since projectile count doesn't really work for thermal lance, we want to take all the fire rate that we can. Okay, here's the charge shot, and this is the new mod, charged mines. You basically stop charging yourself and give that charge shot mod to your mines. The longer they stay active, the more charged their weapon is, and the beam will basically grow bigger because of that. So let's get that. Now we have the charged mines. It also decreases the trigger radius, which is very good. However, the mines take 2 damage per second. This is why we want to take Vital Bond and give our regenerations to the mine, so they can stay alive as long as possible. And yeah, like I said before, that minus 25% mine effect will reduce the beam by 1, so there will be 2 beams casting from the mine, and from my testing I had to have about 6 to 7 double taps before I got the third beam again. So this is definitely something that you want to be grabbing as much as possible. As you can see, the beam gets really big already. And we died. Great. Okay, so I suppose we will try again. I'll try to get to this point, more or less, and I'll be right back, I suppose. Okay, so we are more or less in a similar place than we were before, and as you can see, our mines have a pretty big laser by now, and we have 6 mines at this point, because we did get a bit more lucky and got the mine specialist, which is very nice indeed. Now we could be getting obsession here, I suppose. I don't know if we really need it. We already have 3 double taps. So I think we are going to pass it. Maybe let's increase our survivability. That would be nice. Let's spam the mines and watch him burn. The thermal lance does have a pretty high knockback for some reason. It doesn't really feel like a weapon that should have a knockback. We're gonna grab the revelation in hopes of getting another 3 double taps. That would be perfect. And would, I believe, allow us to get to take minefield without losing the 3rd beam, which would be nice. As you can see, the whole point of this build is just to put mines everywhere to cover the screen in lasers and create a disco. I think we're gonna want Rancor. It will actually. Now that I think about it, I'm not entirely sure how Rancor would work here, because I assume it would be applied to the mines and not us. So the mines would have to take damage to benefit from it, I think. I wonder if the maximal hull and damage and plating would apply to us or the mines. I guess we will see. The absorption is something that we're going to need anyway, because that free plating is just too good to pass. It will give us a lot more survivability. Not sure why some mines spin really fast, why others don't. Like this one, it's basically standing still. I'm not sure what is the... And this one is spinning a lot faster than the other ones. I don't know why is that exactly. And here we have double tap, so that's 3 more double taps. This does increase our thermal lance by quite a lot, as you can see. Okay, what do we have here? I guess we will take force armor. Normally I maybe wouldn't take it. I didn't put it on my list of mods, but because we already have the required double taps, this reduced the amount of mods that we will be needing. So I think we can squeeze a force armor there, and that 10% damage resistance will be really useful. Mastery, its rate of fire, blast radius, everything that we want and need. Did that mine start to spin in a different direction? Or did I imagine it? Okay, what do we need now? Here's that blast radius again, polar inversion. But I want vital bonds and rapid reconstruction, really. So I think we are going to reroll that. This is not crucial, as you could see. The mines are already pretty big. So let's try to find a rapid reconstruction. Then the overseer is going to be another one that you can actually go without it. We already have 6 or 7 mines, so this is not a big issue. Oh, also another thing, we took engineer this time around instead of the assault. It seems to be working just fine. Yeah, let's try getting rapid regeneration. Bravado. Bravado for engineer I'm not a fan of, because it doesn't really do much. It doesn't really do anything at all. It doesn't even increase our construction assembly speed, because we have what, like 12% at the max, so it will give like 1.2% or whatever. This doesn't really seem like a good choice right now. And I maybe don't necessarily want to fight with elites or champions all the time. Juggernaut for the maximum hull and crash knockback resistance. Okay, but I really want that rapid reconstruction and vital bond right now, so let's try to find it. And here we have Rancor. Okay, so let's see, we have 108 hull, and with this we have 112, so I suppose the Rancor does apply to us, not the mines, or maybe both. So I'm not entirely sure whether the mines or do we have to get hit or the mines to get the benefit from the Rancor. We'll see, I suppose. Let's spam a lot of mines and watch him burn. Or not. He decided to kill them all. But finally we can... Okay, let's not run into those mine heres. That would be great. Defiance is one of my favorite mods, as you know, but here we don't really take any self-damage, and we have a lot of other mods that we need to worry about. So maybe let's try to get that rapid reconstruction, but the game doesn't really want to give it to us. So maybe Juggernaut, just to knock it out of the pool, and it will increase our max health and regeneration as well. Okay, I would want to get our shields back. Maybe not die. That would be really, really great. Oh, there is the rapid reconstruction, and it's also got buffed, I believe. I think it was 60% before, it's 80 now. Base hull, was it 35? Wasn't it 20 or 25? Not sure, I would have to read the patch notes. I haven't really noticed that before. But yes, we are starting to get somewhere with this build. Oh yeah, and another thing that I forgot to mention, well, I kind of mentioned it before, is that the sparks don't really come out from the mines when they are firing. The sparks only come out when the mine explodes, so that's why we don't really want to be boosting the projectiles, as we don't want the mines to explode. And here's the vital bonds that is going to help us keep our mines alive. I think we might be ready to take Overseer. So let's see, the Skirmish and the Terminate is also a good mod. The 12% hull, the kill on the 12% hull is just great overall, and it also increases the rate of fire by 5%. So that might be another thing that we are going to grab. Let me look at my mod list here and see what we are missing. Here we got mine, retribution of that mines, elegant construct, yes, self-destruct not yet, overseer, incandescence, corrosion, purification, rapid fire, burst fire, warpath, magnitude, payload, charge, short charge mines, blast radius not yet, skirmish terminal, priority 0 is another one that we might want. House strength, absorption, rancor, regeneration, rapid construction, vital bond, double tap, we have enough I believe, maybe one more. Revelation as well. Okay, so we are missing the overseer, the blast radius 3, the support specialist. Yes, the support specialist is going to give us 25% rate of fire, so we would want priority 0. What level are we? 33. I think we can squeeze the terminate here. Well, if we manage to do it, this will help us kill bosses, especially the what's his face, Seraph. This will be really useful. I'm not sure what wave we are at right now. Is there actually info about a wave here? Wave 91. Okay, so we are getting really close to Seraph. I think the terminate would be really useful there. What else? I was just thinking about something very important right now and the thought completely escaped my mind. Okay, I'm going to blame this on being awake for like nearly 20 hours right now. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about. So yeah, anyway, let's see. I don't really want anything from here. Nothing here either. Double tap or the minefield. Minefield will decrease the radius of our beams, but will give us more mines and reduce the trigger radius, which is also very good. But I think we'll grab double tap here, because if this will reduce our beams by 1 and leave us with 2 beams, this really gimps the build. So I'm not entirely sure if 6 is enough. I think 7 was the magic number for engineer. 6 or 5 was good enough for the assault. So let's grab that. Oh, and now we have 5 beams. Okay, this is even better. Oh yeah, I know what I was thinking about. Retribution. But we have retribution, so everything is good. Okay. And this is getting really nice. I like this a lot. I didn't in my testing I didn't even get to 5 beams at all. I wasn't sure if that's even possible, but apparently it is. So this would be even greater reason not to take minefield, because this is just great overall. Let's see, what do you have? Blitz. Blitz is pretty much useless. What else? Terminate. Yeah, terminate, I think, since we are fighting Seraph. So terminate will be perfect here. And he is getting close to that magic 12%. And there we go, he died. Okay, so Seraph is dead. I consider that a successful build. Everything else at this point is a bonus. Of course, it would be really great if we could break the 1 million points. But we will see if we can do it. Essence Up might as well be a good mod for this. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work with the beams from the mines. I haven't really tested that. But this is one to keep in mind, I suppose. Okay, I think we are going to go for the Overseer. This will reduce our thrust but increase the assembly speed, and our construct limit will be doubled. We also could go for ally. I think maybe once we get Overseer we will start working on the ally. Just to get more beams, pretty much. So what are our construct limits? It's still 6. Assembly speed is 126%. It's not sure how fast it actually is, but it seems to be pretty fast, like maybe 3 or 4 seconds per mine. That is definitely not bad. As you can see, the beams are really pushing the enemies away, which is maybe not great. But on the other hand, it is also possible to keep enemies at the edges of the screen. So I'm in two minds about the knockback effect. And I think you also can get the burnout reactors. This will give us more assembly speed and rotation and the fire rate, which we might be getting later on. This might be a good with our vital bond. This is 60%. I have to check our regeneration 7.88 basically. So we would need more regeneration to really benefit from the burnout reactors, as the mines would burn out pretty fast. But I think we will maybe try it anyway and see how it goes. I didn't test that in my test runs. So yeah, since we don't really have a weapon, well, shit. Since we don't have a weapon, we will be entirely focusing. Oh, that's a nice disco. We'll be entirely focusing on trying to stay alive and dodging attack. Didn't I kill you? Is that another Scion? I guess so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we killed that previous one. I suppose the difficult thing about this build can be keeping your mines in such position that they don't get detonated. Okay, so let's see. Can we go for the ally? We have skirmish, terminate. We don't have the blast radius and the high explosive. So I don't think we really need it. It would just increase the size of the beams, and they are already pretty big. We don't have support specialist either. I don't think we'll be going for the barrage at all. Polar inversion, no. Solar heart is also an option, since this is a burn build. But with all of those wild modes that we have, this would really gimp our regeneration. This is like what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's not bad. It would be 1.5 self-burn, I think. Because it's 0.15, yeah? So yeah, 1.5. Actually, 1 or 2 solar hearts would be fine. Okay, so we can go for ally. So this will be like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, at least 4 levels to get interceptors. And then another 3 levels to make them, actually another 2 levels to make them really good. Do we have 5 levels in us? We're level 38. Yeah, that might not be the greatest ideas at this point, because we'll probably not even get to the interceptors. Maybe support specialist is a better option here. Maybe we'll get more beams. No, this is another mode, the mortar. You basically shoot out the mines as you would your weapon. This is an interesting build. I will probably make one with it later on, but for right now, for this build, this is completely useless. It would just break the build entirely because the mines explode when they stop, and this is not what we want, not at all. Okay, well then maybe I will go ally after all, because we don't have the regeneration for the burnout reactors. It is 30% assembly speed. Maybe, and maybe grab the hypermetabolism later. Hey, you know what? Let's go for burnout reaction, because I have a feeling that we are not going to get the ally to the interceptor, and I think this will just not work at all. So yeah, but you can see the mines are really burning out pretty fast now. So that might have been a mistake. We'll see if we can get hypermetabolism. Well, the mines are reconstructing pretty fast. Maybe this won't be that bad after all. Okay. Outrage is not useful at all. Blast radius. Rupture would be good, but the increased blast radius not doing much for us at this point. Another double tap. I would prefer hypermetabolism, but we only have 3 rerolls left, and I don't want to be left without the possibility of taking any upgrades at all, because we get stuck on something useless. We should be getting another level up. I know, famous last words. I believe in one of the videos I said something like that and then immediately died after it. Also with the charged mines, there's a bit of a weird wording here. Let me see it here. Your mines charge your weapon until they detonate at 100% of your charge rate, which I understand it that once the mines reach the 100% of the charge from the charge shot, then they detonate. But I'm not entirely sure if that's exactly how it's working, because I tested this a bit with a different build, and I could upkeep mines indefinitely with Vital Bond. Here they are obviously not staying alive for the entire time they do detonate on their own. So maybe that was bugged before and it's working now. I'm not sure. There was a patch between my tests. So maybe it was just broken before. I mean, right now they are detonating because of the burnout reactors, but even before we took those, the mines did die on their own for no apparent reason other than the charge destruction, I guess. Okay, minefield. I don't really want to take it right now because that would reduce our total mana effect, and I don't want to lose those 5 beams that we have going on right now. So I guess I won't be showing you how the build looks with the minefield. Well, I mean, it pretty much looks the same way, but you spew out a lot more mines and they construct a lot faster. It's pretty fun, but another double tap. Fine with me. Maybe we'll get to the point where we have even more beams from the mines. We'll see, I suppose, if we manage to survive for longer and get some more level ups, more double taps, more beams and more death. Yeah, this knockback, like I said before, I mean, not entirely sure if I like that. It's a bit strange, I suppose. Okay, so the Solar Heart. How many mods do we have? Wild mods. 12. So this is in the safe. In the safe option. It will increase our burn damage by 12%. This is not much. But again, we only have 2 rerolls, so I think at this point I will be grabbing anything that I can grab here. The masochism is, of course, another option here. However, with Solar Heart and possibly Dying Star, if well, if you take the double Dying Star, you would have the core shielding, but here we don't have channeling or core shielding, so keep in mind that we don't really have any self-damage resistance. We will be taking full amount from this and no increased regeneration from the channeling. So maybe this is not the best option. I think it should be safe here, but do look out for that self-damage. If you want to go for more Solar Hearts or Dying Star, because Dying Star will be a decent option with this, be sure to grab some self-damage resistance, some masochisms and such. I think we're going to risk it and see how does that. Where am I? Okay, Let's not die here. We can see our regeneration did slow down a bit. Yeah, so I went into like a focus mode there, and there'll probably be a lot more of it. Right now, since I should be really sleeping right now and not uploading, not recording videos. And talking to myself is not really helping me with the focus while there is a lot of stuff happening on the screen. Adrenal module, it's up to 50% more global damage. You don't really want twin strikes. While it does increase projectiles, which does scale with the loaded mines, it also reduces your recovery, and the recovery is everything. It's your attack speed, cooldown between attacks, shield cooldown, regeneration, everything. Recovery is a really punishing stat if you're, you know, if you start taking twin strikes. So I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're going for some kind of maximum projectiles kind of build. So polar inversion. Yeah, actually, with polar inversion, now that I think about it, since the mines are pushing enemies back, this would pull them instead and detonate the mines, which is maybe not the greatest idea. So yeah, I think we will grab Adrenal module instead. So maybe actually the beams pushing enemies away is a good thing, because it prevents enemies from getting close and detonating the mines too early. Well, I mean, it doesn't really prevent them entirely, they will still get pretty close and detonate them anyway. But you can keep the enemies at a moderate distance. I would like to know why some mines are rotating and others not. Is this some kind of like the rotation, is the rotation affected by your rotation at the point where you drop the mine or by your velocity or something. So it's like basically could you make the mine spin faster if you want? Yeah, like it might be affected by your rotation. Because I don't think it's this, or maybe actually maybe it is affected by your speed. Ooh, that was a pretty heavy hit right there that we took. And that was another one that nearly killed us. Okay. Efficiency. So I was thinking adaptive armor, but that requires us to get hit. We do have solar heart. This is 1 damage resistance with each stack, and this won't generate that many stacks. But let's see. This is just a straight up 20% regeneration. And here we would have to take channeling as well. I think the efficiency might be the better option. And then if we manage to get another level, maybe we'll grab adaptive armor. But for now, efficiency it is. We have almost 10, 9.5 hull per second now. Minus the self-damage. And what is our resistance? It's pretty much 10% to everything, which is not great. But like I said before, this is pretty much a glass cannon build. You really don't have much room to squeeze some of the... Oh, we have 2 scions on screen. I don't think I've ever seen that before. This is pretty bad, I would say. So maybe if one of you could just maybe die, that would be perfect. Thank you. Oof, that is going to be tough. Okay, maybe... Nope. Well, at least we took him with us. I should have gone up instead of down. But oh well. I think this was a pretty successful run. We almost broke the 1 million. It wasn't quite enough to get on the top 10, but still pretty good nonetheless. Okay, that will be all for today, and see you guys later.